Hello YouTube world, welcome to my channel, Greta Thorguðjonsen channel. To tell you a little bit about me, I'm Icelandic, I'm an author, I'm a student, and I help people understand recovery, energy, and what it means to be fully alive. I have written down some words that I want to share with you. And like Les Brown said, when you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. So, let's go. Why recovery begins before sleep? Why recovery begins before sleep? What if we are not merely sleep deprived, but recovery deprived? Most people think recovery begins when they go to bed. I don't. After years of studying psychology, neuroscience, neuroscience, stress recovery, human performance, and after writing books such as Rest Awake, The Recovery State, Mastering Human Energy, The Gratitude State, The Quiet Fire, and The Human Soul on Fire, I have come to a very different conclusion. I believe one of the biggest misunderstandings in modern life is this: we have become obsessed with sleep, and yet we remain exhausted. Think about that for a moment. The global sleep economy is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Mattresses, sleep trackers, wearables, supplements, sleep clinics, sleep technology, sleep optimization. Entire industries have emerged around helping people sleep better. At the same time, insufficient sleep is estimated to cost the American economy hundreds of billions of dollars every year through lost productivity, accidents, healthcare costs, absenteeism, and reduced performance. And despite all of our knowledge, all of our technology, and all of our investment, more than 1/3 of adults still fail to get enough sleep. So here is the question that fascinates me. How can we spend hundreds of billions of dollars on sleep, yet still be so tired? How can we know more about sleep than any generation in history, yet continue struggling with exhaustion? Perhaps sleep is incredibly important. I believe it is. But perhaps sleep is not the whole story. Perhaps we have become experts at discussing sleep while remaining beginners at understanding recovery. Because what if the modern epidemic isn't sleep deprivation? What if it is recovery deprivation? That realization changed everything for me. For years I was fascinated by a simple question: why do some people sleep 8 hours and still wake up exhausted? And why do some people seem energized, resilient, focused, and alive despite carrying enormous responsibilities? The deeper I looked, the more I began to suspect that we may be asking the wrong question. Perhaps the question is not how do we get more sleep, perhaps the question is how do we recover better? Because sleep and recovery are not identical. Sleep is one of the most important recovery processes available to human beings, but recovery is larger than sleep. Recovery begins before sleep. Recovery begins with the state of the nervous system. The nervous system keeps track of everything, every thought, every stressful thought, every unresolved emotion, every difficult relationship, every fear, every frustration, every disappointment, every moment of vigilance. The body is always listening, the body is always adapting, the body is always paying the bill. Many people believe they are tired because they have done too much. I increasingly believe many people are tired because they have carried too much for too long. The body remembers. The nervous system keeps score. And if that's true, then recovery requires more than sleep. It requires a new relationship with energy itself. One of the most important lessons I have learned is that heart coherence may be one of the most powerful recovery states available to human beings. When breathing, heart rhythms, emotions, and attention begin working together instead of against one another, something remarkable happens. The body begins shifting away from survival and toward restoration. Stress decreases, clarity improves, focus improves, recovery begins. This is why Heart coherence sits at the center of so much of my work, because it gives people a practical method for creating recovery intentionally rather than waiting for recovery to happen accidentally. Another lesson I've learned is that resistance is more expensive than reality. Life costs energy. That is unavoidable. But resistance often costs even more. Resisting emotions, resisting uncertainty, resisting change, resisting reality, resisting ourselves. Every form of internal friction extracts energy from the system. Many people are not exhausted because life is difficult. They are exhausted because they are fighting life. The hidden cost of resistance may be one of the greatest sources of unnecessary fatigue in modern society. Less resistance, more energy. That simple idea sits at the heart of the quiet fire and mastering human energy. I have also come to believe that recovery is not an event. Recovery is not something that only happens when we sleep. Recovery is not something that only happens on vacation. Recovery is a 24/7, state-dependent, trainable biological skill. A skill that operates every hour of the day. Every hour of every day. Every breath influences the nervous system. Every thought influences the nervous system. Every emotion influences the nervous system. Every behavior influences the nervous system. The question is not whether we are influencing recovery. The question is whether we are influencing it in a helpful direction. Recovery is not something we visit occasionally. Recovery is something we practice continuously. Most people wait until exhaustion forces them to recover, but what if recovery could be practiced every day? What if resilience could be trained? What if regulation could be trained? What if recovery itself could become a skill? Breathwork, meditation, heart coherence, walking, silence, reflection, gratitude. These are not luxuries. These are recovery skills. And like every skill, they improve with practice. One of the biggest insights I've had over the years is that most people understand money far better than they understand energy. Think about it. Most people can tell you exactly how much money is in their bank account. They know what they earn, they know what they can spend. They know when they are making a good financial decision. They know when they are wasting money. Yet very few people can accurately tell you what is happening inside their own energy system. They have no idea. What gives them energy, what drains them, which relationship energizes them, which environments exhaust them, which thoughts deplete them, which habits restore them. The irony is profound, because money is important, but energy is fundamental. Without energy, health suffers, relationships suffer, creativity suffers, performance suffers. Even our ability to earn money suffers. Every human being lives inside an energy economy. Every thought has a cost. Every emotion has a cost. Every relationship has a cost. Every decision has a cost. The people who thrive are often not those who make the most money. They are those who become masters of their own energy. Because energy is the currency from which all other currencies are ultimately created. The breath is another lesson. Few tools influence human psychology more quickly than breathing. Within minutes, breathing can influence stress, emotional state, attention, heart rate, and nervous system activity. The breath is always available, always free, always with us. If recovery has a doorway, the breath may be the handle, and I have also become fascinated by gratitude. Not as a positive thinking, not as forced optimism, but as biology. Because gratitude changes attention, attention changes perception, perception changes physiology. When the nervous system begins perceiving abundance instead of scarcity, it often softens. In many ways, gratitude becomes a biological signal that says, I have enough, I am safe enough, I can relax now, and that state can be profoundly restorative. One of the greatest surprises in my own journey has been discovering that energy does not always come from rest. Energy also comes from aliveness. Purpose, meaning, love connection, adventure, contribution, creativity. Have you ever noticed how exhaustive something disappears? How exhaustion sometimes disappears when you're doing something that you genuinely care about? That isn't an accident. Human beings are not machines. The quality of our experience matters. What makes us come alive often restores us. And finally, perhaps the most important, most personal lesson of all, að vilja sig til fulls. I have come to believe that að vilja sig til fulls, which means, because I'm not speaking to an Icelandic audience, to want yourself fully. I have come to believe that a tremendous amount of human energy is lost through self-rejection, self-criticism, shame, perfectionism, the belief that we must become someone else before we are worthy of acceptance. That war is exhausting. Recovery deepens when that war ends, when we become allies to our own existence, when we stop treating ourselves as a problem to solve, when we stand fully with ourselves, when we choose ourselves. Now, one final thought. Some people hear my work and immediately assume it is about sleeping less. It isn't. First and foremost, it is about balance, health, recovery, regulation. The goal is never to force less sleep. The goal is better recovery. However, one of the most interesting questions explored in Rest Awake is whether improving recovery may sometimes improve sleep so dramatically that sleep itself becomes more efficient. Practices such as heart coherence, meditation, breath work, stress reduction, improved emotional regulation, and in some cases, improved nutrition and reduced metabolic burden, may improve recovery so significantly that sleep quality improves and sleep need may naturally shorten for some individuals. Not because sleep becomes less important, but because recovery becomes more effective. The idea is not deprivation, the idea is optimization. Better recovery, better sleep, better energy, and perhaps a more resilient human being. If I had to summarize everything I have learned from years of study, experimentation, writing, and reflection, it would be this. Human beings are not merely sleep-deprived, they are recovery-deprived. Recovery is larger than sleep. Recovery begins before sleep. Recovery is a 24/7 state-dependent, trainable biological skill. A skill that can be strengthened, a skill that can be measured, a skill that can be practiced. A skill that begins long before someone goes to bed. Heart coherence, breath work, meditation, gratitude, presence, reduced resistance, meaning, connection, self-acceptance. These are not merely self-help concepts. They are recovery behaviors. They are biological signals that influence the state of the nervous system and therefore influence human energy. The idea sits at the heart of everything I've written. Rest Awake, the recovery state, mastering human energy, and the gratitude state, the quiet fire, human soul on fire. Different books, different perspectives, one central message. We have become extraordinarily skilled. We have become extraordinarily skilled at performance. Perhaps at this time we became equally skilled at recovery. Because the future may not belong to those who simply work harder, it may belong to those who recover better. And when we learn how to recover well, something remarkable happens. We don't just gain more energy, we gain more life. Thank you for watching, and if this message resonated with you, if it helped you think differently about energy, recovery, and what it means to truly come alive, consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel. There is much more to explore together. Until next time, take care of your energy. It may be the most valuable resource you have. Thank you.